Welcome. In this video we are going to see about color. Light is characterized by its wavelength and frequency. So each light has its unique color. If we are seeing or classifying an objects with different colors, that is because of the wavelength the object reflects from the incident light. For example, if we incident different wavelength present in the visible light onto an object, the object will reflect specific color which determines the color of an object. So we know that human eye cannot sense all the electromagnetic radiation present in the system, whereas human eye can sense a different or a small part of electromagnetic spectrum, which we call it as visible light, and it is made possible through the presence of rod cells and cone cells present in our eyes. So if we want to define color, we can define color as a visual perception generated by our brain because of the electromagnetic radiation incidented onto our rod cells and cone cells present in the human eye. So if we say that colors are a response function, then this response function as a function of frequency is given by a mathematical term called luminous efficiency or luminosity. Light sensitivity or spectral sensitivity of a human eye is quantified through luminosity, and it is given by this function, where phi v is known as the luminous flux and phi e is known as the spectral radiance, where lambda stands for the wavelength of the electromagnetic radiation. So if we look into the response function of different colors or a different wavelength, we can see that these colors are made possible or made distinguished possibly because of the cone cells present in our eyes, whereas this black or low level lights are made possible to be distinguished due to the presence of rod cells. So this luminous efficiency function depends upon the lighting conditions also. That means the response of a given wavelength generated by our eye depends upon the external lighting conditions. Depending upon the ambient lighting conditions, the spectral sensitivity of our human eye can vary. And we know that in our human eye, rod cells are present in more number than the cone cells, and also rod cells are highly sensitive, whereas the sensitivity of cone cells are very less. Rod cells are highly useful in distinguishing the object with different luminous levels. That means if we can distinguish bright and dull light, that is possibly because of rod cells present in our eye. Whereas cone cells helps us in distinguishing the colors such as red, blue, green, and they are very lightly sensitive, or we can say that the sensitivity is very less compared to that of rod cells. Depending upon the lighting condition, the vision is classified into three types. One is photopic vision, another one is scotopic vision, another one is mesopic vision. Suppose if we are able to see an object in the presence of bright source, then that vision is termed as photopic vision. For example, if we are in a outdoor place where it is highly bright and we can able to see an object, that comes under photopic vision, and that is made possible because of the cone cells. And scotopic vision is where the light levels are very low. For example, if we are in twilight or at night where the light levels are very low and we can able to see an object, that vision is classified as scotopic vision, and that is made possible because of the rod mediated vision, because of the rod cells. And we have already seen that rod cells are highly sensitive. And mesopic vision is the vision where the ambient light levels are neither too bright nor too dull, and that vision is mediated through both cone cells and rod cells. And this is the response function during the photopic and scotopic vision. So to put in a nutshell, photopic vision happens where high ambient light level is there and it is mediated by cone cells, whereas scotopic vision is present or happens when the light levels are very low and mediated by rod cells. Mesopic vision happens when the light source are neither too bright or not too dull. The next term which is very important in vision is this glare. Glare is defined as the difficulty in visualizing an object because of the presence of bright light. For example, it is a headlamp of a vehicle at night or a direct or reflected sunlight. So this is termed as glare, and this glare limits the person's ability to distinguish an object in detail. That means we cannot get the complete detail of an object due to the presence of bright source of light. And this glare is classified into two types. One is direct and indirect glare, which is further classified into disability glare and discomfort glare. This glare can be avoided by using polarized lenses or anti-glare coatings, and if we can have automatic brightness adjustment on our computers and phones, adjustable light levels depending upon the ambient lights, filters and diffuse lights. So in order to have a comfortable vision inside a structure, before erecting a structure, it is very important to quantify and as well as qualify the kind of light which will be present inside the structure. So to have a comfortable vision, it is important to have a daylight calculations to be done. So what is daylight calculation? It is the ratio of the level of light inside a structure to the level of light present outside the structure. This factor is known as a daylight factor, and it is a metric to quantify the amount of light present in the room during the daytime. So this amount of light which is present in the room can be classified into three terms. One is the direct visible light, which is coming from the sky to the point which we consider. And second term is second source is the light which is reflected from the external surface to the point of interest. And third one is the light which enters the room through a window but reaches the point through internal reflection. So all three together will determine the illumination at a given point. One is skylight, another one is reflected external surface reflected one, and internal reflection one. And out of this we can only able to tune this direct light available from the sky, which is coming to the point directly without any interference. So all these calculations will be considered or will be useful in determining a comfortable structure which is having a good comfort vision. Thank you.